Build your WWE versus WCW $15 card.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have your main event match. You're going to have your mid-card match. You're going to have your tag team match. You're going to have your women's match. You're going to have a specialty match or a wild card match at the end. So your main event, at $1, you get Big Show versus Vader. At $2, you get Kane versus Lex Luger. At $3, you get Triple H versus Goldberg. At $4, you get The Rock versus Ric Flair. At $5, you get Stone Cold versus Hulkamania. Hollywood Hogan.
So this is Ric Flair in his prime, right?
This is Ric Flair? Yeah, I guess. This is Ric Flair in the 2000s, 90s, 2000s.
Okay.
It's not really prime.
Not
prime
prime.
Ric Flair is like the 70s,
Yeah,
80s.
that's true.
Well, 80s, I guess.
Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold. That's gonna be. I don't know how great of a match it's gonna be. That might be like a quick one and done, like 5-minute match.
But the selling point, look, think about how much money that would draw. Out of all the matches.
That's true. Rock, Triple H versus Goldberg. We already seen that. I think I'll go $5. I'll spend it on Stone Cold versus Hulk Hogan. The two biggest names probably in wrestling, so I might as well go with the two of them.
You have $10 left for your mid-card match. At $1, you have Steve Blackman versus Dean Malenko. At $2, you have Val Venus versus Buff Bagwell. At $3, you have Rikishi versus Benoit. At $4, you have Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero in WCW.
Oh.
And for $5, you have Kurt Angle versus Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh man, do I just go buy another 5? Kurt Angle versus DDP. That'd be a sick match.
It would be. It would be a great match.
Screw it. I'm spending the $5.
Damn.
I gotta spend the $5 on that match.
You have $5 left for your tag team match. At $1, you have the Headbangers versus Public Enemy.
Okay.
For $2, you have Too Cool versus Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman. For $3, you have the Dudleys versus the Steiner Brothers. For $4, you have Edge and Christian versus Harlem Heat. For $5, you have the Hardy Boys versus the Outsiders, Hall and Nash.
I think I gotta spend the $2 here.
For your women's match, now you have $3 left.
Okay.
For $1, you have Jacqueline versus Major Guns. I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
The ChatGPT came up with that. For $2, you have Ivory versus Miss Hancock, aka Stacey Cabler.
Oh.
For $3, you have Lita versus Tori Wilson. For $4, Trish Stratus versus Bull Nakano.
Okay.
And $5, you have China versus Medusa
I'm just gonna spend the $1 here. I'm gonna save the $2. Hopefully, I get something decent.
on the wild card match.
Yeah.
So for your wild card match, you have $2 left. For $1, you could take Al Snow versus Disco Inferno in an evening gown hardcore match. I don't know what that is, but it's a Vince McMahon idea.
Yeah.
If I heard one. For $3, you could have got X-Pac versus Psychosis, 2 out of 3 falls.
Okay.
For $4, you could have got Mankind versus Raven,
Ooh.
hardcore rules match. For $5, you could have got the dream match of dream matches, Undertaker versus Sting.
I should have saved the $5.
And
no.
$2, you could take Road Dogg versus Alex Wright in a dance-off. I don't know. Alex Wright was he's a German techno guy. That's what he was.
I guess I gotta go Road Dogg versus the German.
Alex Wright.
Alex Wright.